Hey everyone, I'm Braden Cruz, your host with Sooner Marketing Solutions, and my job is to figure out ways to get you attention.
Abel Rodriguez with ARC Outdoorsman, where we are creating and maintaining your outdoor living.
Chance Jones with Threaded Industries, where we are a clothing brand built upon giving back.
Welcome back to Brews and Business. I'm your host, Braden Cruz. We're streaming here in the Blue Studio. We're live on Facebook today on my Facebook page. I tagged you, and you. That's and cool. We're live on the Sooner CEO TikTok. Today, we're going to be talking about harnessing cybersecurity with an in-depth conversation with Jim Herron with AllInsure. So glad to have you guys here today. Chance, Abel, how are you guys?
Great.
I'm doing very well.
Very good. And Jim, welcome back, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm excited. In today's digital landscape, the cybersecurity is not just a luxury, but it's become like a necessity, sure. Right? So basically, like a lot of things that we want to cover today is some cybersecurity risk landscape, the importance of cybersecurity insurance, common cyber threats, talk about also some commercial insurance, and maybe how that correlates to cybersecurity as well. And then definitely pitch in on how you're involved with AllInsure now. Yeah. So I'm very excited to hear about that venture. So we'll probably start with that. Go ahead and give us a reintroduction to yourself, who you are, what are you doing now, and kind of kick us off with AllInsure.
Yeah, appreciate it. So Jim Herron spent probably about 10 years working in the IT space prior to joining AllInsure. Kind of started to work, probably the last 4 years working heavily with small businesses and helping them understand what technology looks like, what their environment needs to look like, as well as kind of addressing the elephant in the room of cybersecurity. Ever since the onset of COVID, I don't know, we talked about this a couple months back, when Adidas had to send out what their new COVID policy was, and Nike sent out, and all the other fancy athleisure websites that Chance likes to go to.
He likes to go to them or is one.
There you go.
Not mutually exclusive. Once they sent out all those policies, the nefarious cyber attackers also saw that and saw that as an opportunity. So rather than it being, capital Adidas, it's capital A, capital D, lowercase L, capital D, capital A, capital S, sending out there. And if you click on the link, it became a route into your network and all that kind of stuff. So
are you talking about like the spam emails that you get where it's like you click on the link and then you visit some website, but little did you know that you were rerouted in milliseconds? And correct. I saw that.
And you
that
still end up at whatever website that you think. So so you're none the wiser.
Right. That actually happened to my wife with Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I told Stone got an email the other day and he was like, "Is this legit?" I was like, "No, don't click on any of the links." And he's like,
Too late.
Yeah. I was like, well, I hope you're not just like dead now. So.
Right. So that's kind of where my knowledge and where my expertise has been over the last 4.5, 5 years. About a month ago, actually 2 months now, had a conversation with a gentleman who's run multiple successful real estate focused organizations and has been kind of dabbling a little bit in the commercial insurance space, kind of passing deals along to other agencies and kind of splitting commissions, all of that kind of stuff. And now grown it to the point where he has such a substantial book of business that he said, I need to have someone that can be solely focused, solely dedicated on helping make sure that our clients are, number one, in the best situation possible, making sure that we can get them the best rates, the proper coverage, the proper things like that, as well as just someone that can help grow this from passive income to being something that is a highly marketable, highly sellable asset in 5 years' time. And then, I shared with Abel earlier, transparently, someone that's grown an organization from 50 to 650 employees or whatever they're at, 700, wherever they're at right now, comes to you and says, hey, we want to give you an equity opportunity. You can't sign on the dotted line fast enough.
Well, there's just a level of knowledge that you're just going to learn. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The equity stake, that's huge. That's awesome. Right. Yeah. That's the icing on the cake. Yeah. But I think as business owners and entrepreneurs is we see the learning that the knowledge you're going to gain from that guy is ridiculous, and being surrounded by the atmosphere of people that are used to doing something like that. Again, you mentioned multiple things is one, you're looking at this as a business owner. Right. What is it? Not just, am I building this business for a paycheck? Like, no, I'm building this business to sell it.
Correct.
I want it to be as highly marketable, as highly, you want that new owner to look at them like, that's a cash cow I want to buy. Yeah. Because then that makes your business be exponentially higher. And there's no telling where that knowledge plus the equity stake and all that will take you if it all goes well. And honestly, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah. So that's the long and short of it. Just kind of getting out there And the other part of it too, I think that, and I don't mean to paint with a broad brush, but I think that there's a number of commercial insurance agents, especially locally, that don't necessarily do the fair, let's sit down and let's have a conversation about your business. They send you a bunch of applications, say, I'll let you know what I get. Mm-hmm. My approach is, and it's not, I know Abel's, we were talking earlier about time and efficiency. My approach may not be the most time efficient, but I think it's the service element that's going to really grow the organization much faster, is to sit down and, if you are, a bread maker that's targeting $5,000 for annual sales, I'm still going to sit down and have a cup of coffee with you, and I want to understand your business. Because the other part of it too is, if I send you that application, you're going to click on it and laugh and say, I'm not dealing with that right now.
Yeah.
But, but as well, working with the, $1.5 million, $2 million, $5 million, size organizations on annual revenue, and having that same conversation saying, let me understand your business. Now, again, insurance is not always sexy. It's very rarely sexy, unless you're probably dropping rates,
or unless you need it,
or you have a claim and you're getting paid on it. Yeah. So that may be the sexiest part of it. But I think the service element of it, as well as kind of taking that intentional approach to understand your organization, is hugely critical. And I commend you, in terms of the way that you approach working with your clients. Is it's never a, hey, I'll spin up a website for you and I'll do some drone photography for you and goodbye. It's always, what's your next project? How can I better serve you? Who is the next person you're looking to get connected to?
Yeah. I had a meeting with Lauren A. Baking and on Main Street in BA, and they switched from Square to Clover. Yep. And so they lost a lot of abilities that they were using with Square, and it was working to some functionality, some ability. And you may have some ideas. And if you do, you can just let me know at some point in time. But I was like, hey, before we just start throwing out ideas and apps or whatever else you can use, or just tell you to go sign up with whatever, I was like, let me sit down, actually had a cup of coffee and discussed and been like, okay, well, how do you want to use it? Okay, 100%. Well, then what about this? And then they were like, well, if we deliver a cake to Stillwater, we have to charge Stillwater taxes on that cake, even if we're billing them for other services. Those other services don't need taxed for. But since that product, that actual physical product, is being delivered to Stillwater, we have to have that one line item. So I was like, okay, well, we found out that Stripe was a good solution for them. Cool. So they could send out emails. Like Clover, you can send an email, but you can't line item in an invoice. And you also can't report by a line item. It's just an invoice. That's it. They're just payment processing. But on the POS side, you can actually have products. But they can't use they can't use it the same way for their services, like the way that they can with their products. So we use Stripe, and then I was like, well, we just got this new app, so we can take care of the whole booking stuff and give you an ability to where you're not sending people an email with a flyer and it's like, here's our booking rates. Call me back to confirm, or email back to confirm, and then go into a Google Calendar and doing all this stuff. Yeah. So it's like, no, just have the app, just have the ability to put it all on the website. And then if you need to bill for your services, use Stripe, send an invoice they can pay online, and you can have it do cool redirection stuff. So as soon as they pay, maybe it goes to a thank you pay, or maybe it goes to your Facebook, or whatever it is. So there's some cool abilities that she was like, give me it all.
Well, and to kind of go back to whatever your second or third sentence in terms of cybersecurity being more of a necessity as opposed to kind of a nice to have, or having those controls in place. One of the things that I think is going to set me apart further is in 2, 3, 4 years time, I think, right now we're probably at 15 to 20% of organizations need to have, local businesses need to have some sort of cybersecurity liability or rider in place. I've envisioned that being much closer to 50 to, are you? Okay.
Oh no. Some guy was like, on the TikTok, he goes, Stripe is the best all around. I use Stripe too, but go ahead.
Squirrel. My guess is that we're going to see more than 50% of businesses that are going to need it, because, like, for example, I know of an engineering firm that has probably around 200 people, but in order for them to partner with their 5 favorite architecture clients, they needed to have cybersecurity liability in place. They had no clue what to do. So I think my skill set and my knowledge of that is going to allow them to be, number one, get that policy in place, but also number 2, to have a mature and intelligent conversation of, if we implement this $500 IT project to put multi-factor authentication on for your entire network, it may offset your premium by $600, in which case it makes sense. Let's do it today. Or it's, a $3,600 project, but it's going to reduce your premium by $1,800. Well, after 2 years, then we're at an even. Those kinds of conversations I think are going to be so important and so valuable, because so many people are just kind of, we talked about it 2 months ago, 3 months ago. when it comes to technology, so many business owners say, I don't know it. I don't care about it. I'm going to do something else to distract myself.
Yep. So it seems you like the industries where people have that mentality. I don't understand it. I don't want to look at it. And then you come in and you solve that for people.
Yeah.
So, sorry, real quick. So obviously you're brought in as an equity, or as a resource, as an asset for this new company, right? And it sounds like your plan to help scale your business and bring value to that is going to be essentially taking a more hands-on approach with each individual customer. And I would just want to point out that me on the entrepreneur side, that's huge.
Yeah.
I have an insurance agent. I'm not going to say great, but insurance agent.
Yeah.
And what I would kill for them to just come sit down with me for a month, just for an hour for a coffee. Let's
for
talk about right. Well, yeah, for an hour. But
it's just because you're hiring.
Yeah,
I'm really to understand
once
it.
a year, if they would just come and sit down, the business is always evolving. And I think that going along with cybersecurity, going into insurance, it's something that is missing in that space, right? Most of us as business owners start because we have an idea. We don't have any clue what actually goes into all the ins and outs.
The tertiary parts,
right? Yeah. Where coming from your end, I think that's such a huge portion of life now. You mentioned after COVID, kind of all the changes that happened in cybersecurity, but I also noticed that after COVID, it seems like as human beings, we're so much more inclined and want that personal connection again. We didn't want it until we couldn't have it. Correct. And then it's like, whoa, hold on. I just want to talk to somebody. So I think that's a great point of being able to sit down with someone and figure out maybe not necessarily what you need, but how do you run your business and what does that actually look like?
Correct.
And I think with, like you said, kind of being cybersecurity, also the e-commerce space is going crazy, right?
Yep.
So I think that's great for you to be able to go in and not just help them with insurance, but also just protecting themselves in general.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's nothing even, he just nailed it all.
He just covered it. I'm going to give a quick.
I'm trying to figure out how to tag on to it. It's like I got nothing.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys know a business owner, for those of you guys who are on live, that wants to be a part of this conversation while we're here, we've got about 20 minutes left. Cybersecurity, business insurance, commercial insurance, things like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tag them in the comments. Don't forget to like and share while you're here. This kind of helps the podcast grow and reach. We're really focused on trying to educate people in landscapes that a lot of people just don't understand, and just try to help educate and share and stuff. So, okay. So, man, would you be interested in doing another recording to where I bring my policies, all my business policies? Okay, do this. No, do this as like a real demo, right?
Okay.
So demo with me. We do something separate, and you walk through the steps of everything that you look at, and be like, okay, well, this is how I approach your business.
Yeah.
I want to look at this. How do you function with that? Do you have employees? How many employees? How do they function?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It looks like you have this coverage. It looks like you're missing that coverage.
Right.
I think it'd be cool to have someone understand how you do what you do.
Yeah.
And because there's so many insurance agents, there's so many real estate people. Sure. So it's not just like, give me a quote.
Yeah.
Which everyone does that.
Yep.
But to really understand why you're specialized in what you do and kind of how that works behind the scenes. So I think it'd be cool for us to go through my stuff and demo me.
I mean, transparently, I'm still, a month and a half into understanding the full realms of it. And I call up underwriters and say, I preface it with, I messed up. I didn't ask the right question. What are the follow-up questions I need to ask? It's a learning process. No one's going to come in and be an expert day one. But what my role is, and that's part of the reason why, is I try and ask as many questions as I can. Number one, to understand your business. Number two, to see if there's opportunities hey, the business has grown. I'd like to get into a new space. Cool. I got a commercial real estate agent I'd love to connect you with. Or they say, business isn't really where I want it to be. I'd love to increase sales. Well, have you thought about marketing? Finding those easy pivots, number one, makes me valuable. Number two, makes me understand the business. But number three, when I realize that I haven't notated all of the things on those policies or on the, questionnaires or what's called the accord forms, I can go to the underwriter and say, I met with them. I've talked to them. I have all these notes. What are the questions I haven't filled out, so that way I can still speak to you about it? Because again, when you're dealing with so many different kinds of businesses, you're talking about solar panel installation. Well, what do you have to know to go into setting up a workers' comp policy for that? Then at the same token, you've got a cannabis dispensary. Okay, so what does that need to look like? What is the setup, tear down, lock storage? Where does it need to be? Where does it need to be mounted on? What does the fire rating need to be? All those
because if that fire rating isn't 30 minutes at 1400 Or if it is at 30 at 1400, then they don't cover it.
Correct.
But if it's 90 at 700, they're like, cool, we'll cover it or whatever. Like there's so many like little loopholes and stuff like that. That like people are like, oh yeah, I got insurance. Cool. And it's like, no, like I want you to sit down and consult. So like you're really stressing on the importance of really getting to know their business instead of just again giving out a quote.
And you know, earlier Abel mentioned kind of the education side. That's where I think is so valuable in terms of if you feel like I fully understand your business, you feel like, and based off of my, you know, our AllInsure being independent, you know that I'm trying to shop the best price, not this is what I've got. Hope it makes sense for you. So that's kind of where I think that there's a lot of value too, and as opposed to the, you know, because so many, especially just kind of going through the rabbit hole of the, you know, the cannabis side, so many of them when they opened, their focus was, well, let me get my license, let me get a location, let me get product. Oh crap, I need insurance. Google cannabisinsurance.com. For example, I don't know if that's a real website. If it isn't, it's probably worth a good minute, but
yeah, right.
I'll find out what we're talking about.
Domains for sale.
Jamie, can you pull that up?
That's probably right.
And now,
speaking of cannabis, I just finished the marijuana marketing website.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I've had conversations with the dispensary owner where he said, you know, I put all my product in, it was safe, it's rated, it's approved, all that stuff, but I need to tear down my display shelves and set them up every single day. So it's 3.5 extra hours of labor that I need to put in just so that way I get commercial insurance coverage. That doesn't make sense. There's no product in, there's nothing in there. Why do I need to tear it down? So it's those kinds of conversations that, you know, when you Google ineedinsurance.com, you know, you're kind of left with a policy that may not be the right fit for you. Oh, it is available.
You should do the broker service with GoDaddy and see if you can buy this. Serious.
Yeah, it looks right for the pick. And
they haven't touched the website since 2017.
Oh gosh.
I don't even know if they're still in business. They could probably still be paying for this and not know it. But they could probably buy the domain for a couple $100.
Yeah. And then sell it for a couple thousand.
Shoot. To the right guy.
Just redirect it to
so okay. I'm not going to get off tangent here. But speaking of that, so someone wanted me to buy a domain. It was DLS.com, and it's a Discovery Labs center that owns it, and they've had it for like 2 decades.
Yeah.
And the brokers, GoDaddy was like, "Hey, we recommend that you bid this at $100,000 to $500,000. Other than that, don't even reach out to them." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" They're like, "Yeah, because of the volume of traffic that they estimate to the website, and for the length of time that they've had the domain."
Wow.
That's the value's there for that. And I was like, are you kidding me? They're like, yeah. So they just refunded the money that I paid them to do the broker service. But
yeah.
Wow.
I remember there was an auto body shop that, I worked with in IT, and I remember sitting across the table from the business owner, and he had 35 domains. Like, you imagine every iteration and how you can possibly spell it, he's got it. Because it's all just going to be rerouted to him anyway.
Nice.
Well, another reason why you need to have multiple domains, and we're getting a little off topic, but it's fine. So the misspelling part can help increase traffic, but then also if you piss somebody off, they'll buy a variation of your name.
Yeah.
And then build a website that represents you, and now that ranks on Google whenever you search for your name.
Yep.
That actually happened to me. I couldn't figure out who owned this website. I couldn't get rid of it. It was there for 2.5 years. I don't know who I pissed off, but
just don't piss people off. Come on, man.
No.
You're always going to piss someone off.
Yeah.
Someone's always going to get mad.
Yeah.
Always. They need a Snickers bar.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Hey, okay, so I got a question. What would you say is the most common vulnerability that you find with people's insurance policies? You're like, man, if they would just have this. I find this all the time. I don't know what that is. Is it like, oh my God, I wish you guys would have this part of your coverage? I don't know. Make sure it's a minimum of 100,000 or a million this.
I mean,
like,
I don't know that I would say it's always a vulnerability, but I would say a very low hanging fruit and a simple conversation to have with people is your auto that you drive to and from work, or you work in sales and you roll up to this company. Is that on your own personal policy or is that on your business policy?
personal.
It's not what it should be.
Come on, Braden.
You hit somebody. Do you want them coming after you?
The business can't pay for my life insurance. Do you know that?
Why not?
They won't pay out.
But what if the business owns a life insurance policy on you?
That's different.
Right.
Well, you should have both.
I should have both.
You should.
But I don't.
But you should. Come on, man.
But my point behind that all is,
or at least I hold on. I need to find out about that because I know that I set something up like that at one point. It's been years. It's like $20 a month or something. For,
you should have your business should have a policy on you. You should have a policy on yourself, and you should have
the key man
policy.
100%.
Yeah, I was going to add the key man policy this month or next.
Yeah,
it sounds silly, but honestly, the way I see it, I'm like, dude, that's like $100 a month. Do it. Yeah. Because if I ever need it, my family will be taken care of.
Yeah.
I won't be here to make a difference. So
right.
Is your family worth $100 a month?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? I spend more than that on that.
That's how people sell it. Is your family worth it?
But no, I mean,
depends on the month.
To go back to the business auto policy, setting it up so that way, if you're working or not working, you are representing yourself. You're still representing SMS. Like you're still doing all of that. If you hit somebody, do you really want them coming after your own personal finances, or would you rather them come after the business finance?
Well, it's harder to go after the business, right? Or is it? Or does it matter? I don't know.
I mean, I personally would rather have them come after the business because that's not affecting my retirement. I've got my money stored away over here. They can't touch my house. They can't touch my family stuff. They can't touch any of that. My 401k, my IRA, all that. That's all separate. They can't touch it. So because it's separate, because it's kept in the business auto.
So I have a question, and this is
hopefully I have an answer.
Hopefully, if not, we'll call the underwriter. So in that particular process, let's say, in Braden's perspective, actually, well, great opportunity here. I agree that, hey, the business should probably run his truck. Given his industry, he's not typically driving around all day long doing stuff, right? It's mostly just to and from home.
But I've got two people that are.
Right. Well, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Do you see a benefit or a con? So obviously commercial insurance is more expensive.
Sure.
And if you don't know that, it's way fucking more expensive. But would you say it's, I don't know how to phrase this. If you have proper coverage on your personal vehicle, but you don't have it covered under your business, is that still a way of protecting yourself and your personal financial assets? So I know, well, a lot of times when I talk to people, they're like, oh, I have insurance. And it's like state minimum. And I'm like, dude, that doesn't cover anything. 50, it doesn't cover anything. My little brother's still going through a lawsuit because of that. Because I'm like, why did you get minimum? Well, I just needed insurance. I'm like, but you went to cheapest auto insurance. And they gave you the cheapest. But here you are now, right? Is that something where, hey, with a proper coverage, you could be covered enough? Because also we're talking about real business owners, right?
Sure.
So I understand where Braden's coming. I get that because sometimes it's like, hey, your insurance, your auto insurance policy, you'll go from $500 a month to, if you do it personal, it's like $100 a month. Right. It's a whole lot cheaper.
Sure.
Would that be better than just your minimum? What is your thought process behind that if you can't afford to put your auto on commercial auto?
Right. And that's kind of that's kind of why I make the intentional point to sit down and kind of have that discussion. I mean, I'm not going to tell you you have to.
Right.
But I want it to be a conversation, and I want you to push back. I want you to say, well, this is the price doesn't, I can't justify the price, or, I don't necessarily have it in the business budget to be able to make it make sense. But I want to make it sure that they're aware of it, just because you're going to be driving around a lot.
Right.
And your
job is to protect them.
Correct. Right. And when they're driving around in their own personal cars, there are different caveats that you can cover. It's not just blanket coverage. There's number signs, and give me 6 months and I'll have this all nailed down, regurgitated left and right and side to side. I passed the test. Don't know what I got. I just know I passed the test.
That's all that matters.
In high school, I got told, the difference.
70 still passing.
With an engineer who graduated with a 2.0 GPA
from MIT.
With a 4.0 GPA, it's like there's no difference. It's both engineers.
Right.
So you passed, man.
So I mean, I say that all to say there's different levels of it in terms of liability coverage. There's certain where it's the business owner, maybe they want to have the best and the brightest, but it's the employees, maybe you want to still cover them, but you want to only have uninsured coverage or something like that. There's opportunities there to kind of make sure that everyone's being set up in the right position. And the other part of it too is, again, if they're driving and they're on the job and they get hit, they get sideswiped, whatever, and they're now out of work, workers' comp gets rolled in. So making sure that we're having all these conversations and not just saying, hey, go drive your car to this meeting, hope it all works out. you have to kind of know where all of the trickles and what all the implications are.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I'm using Braden as an example here. There is, I believe, commercial auto insurance that would cover essentially Devin. Let's say he's driving his own personal vehicle under work hours. There is an insurance that Braden can
100%.
buy to cover Devin in those instances. That would
100%.
essentially turn off, and Devin's insurance would take back over once Devin's clocked out for the day and now he's back on his own.
And just a liability policy would be fine.
Right. Well, it depends. I know we have the auto policy that covers my guys if they're driving their own personal vehicles. Again, our businesses are way different, but I'm bringing that up because in essence, what I'm for other business owners is there's ways to cover yourself and cover your employees. You don't necessarily have to go for the full commercial auto insurance if you can't afford it. Like I said, it is crazy more expensive. But then again, you got to think about the liability.
There's different
aspects.
classes and different options there. And so to say, not quite, Devin ruins his car, Devin still got to go fix it. Liability only covers if he hits chance. Liability only goes, the coverage only goes to chance. Devin still got to figure it out on his own.
Comprehensive covers yourself too. Yeah.
I'm just bringing up,
One of the things that I feel like I've learned too that I will share is, let's say I contact Jim and I say, hey, I need a policy. He gives me a policy, and then I just have the business pay for it. Little did I inform my accountant or CPA and say, hey, I'm looking at adding this policy to cover A, B, and C. What input do you have, or do I need to be aware of to making sure that there are no other loopholes, or make sure that you also contact the bank. Like the bank needs to have, okay, well, if you change insurance policies or companies or anything like that, they're like, well, you need to have this document specifically for us, for the bank. So like there's more than just one party that's involved. So it's important to have those people that you can trust to consult back and forth before you pull triggers on stuff and just be like, oh, it's about the price, or, oh, it's about this, or, oh, cool, he made this decision. Like
making sure that it's earmarked and effective and routed the right way.
Yeah. What do you got, man? You're kind of quiet over here. Are you just soaking this in?
He's
Are you still pissed I'm driving?
I've been doing a lot of meetings today, so I was just like,
he's ready to give the traffic report on Memorial.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I live out on Memorial now.
How far away are we from the Divergent Diamond? 2 years, 3 years, 7 years?
Oh my God. Yeah, that thing is going to be nuts. You heard about that, right?
What is that?
Honestly, I can't wait. Underneath 169, that's the whole issue.
That's all that road.
That's where they're going the reverse direction and then back across.
Honestly, I'm excited. I think it's going to be phenomenal.
I mean, that's what they're doing right now, honestly. They have the southbound on the northbound side right now. So it's kind of like, this is your trial run.
But Braden, his house, honestly, is in a great but horrible location. I mean, he's stuck to Crossing Memorial, which sucks.
Yeah.
Right? But he does have a caveat where he can go down Mingo and make it in.
Oh, sweet.
But
okay.
Nonetheless, dude, that's a rough spot to be in town.
131st Street's not bad. So like I can get over to Broken Arrow. It's really, I did it.
My wife was 136 in Memorial when we first started dating, and I couldn't convince her to come.
I hated it. I hated it. I mean, I worked right up at the YMCA for 9 years, dude. I know that intersection, and I just
so if I tell you I'm not
just wait
I'm
till
not
there's
leaving
a wreck.
the house, there's a reason.
Yeah,
I'll be like, man, I don't want to get
What are you doing?
out.
I can see the traffic from here.
So I was talking with Leslie. I was like, hey, listen, I may not leave work till 6:30.
Yeah,
like,
it's just easy.
I can't justify getting on the Creek Turnpike and taking off Olive and all those back
we're
roads.
right here at 51st and Yale.
Yeah.
So in order for me to like really efficiently get home, it's the highway.
Yeah.
So which is 44.
Yeah.
And then the BA, and then 169, and then off of the Memorial exit or Mingo, right? So I'm at the 4 busiest intersection junctions in Tulsa, like
4 of which are probably all doing road work at some point.
And they're all doing road work at some point in time. Yeah.
I got back to my house.
75's done. BA 75's done. Right?
Yeah.
So now we got 44.
Wait, BA 44 and 75.
44 and 75 it is.
Yep.
It's not done, but it's moving.
They needed to get that to where it is now.
Yeah. Honestly,
they just haven't done the
always
overpasses
flowed
yet.
really well. I was surprised. It was like a whole year, and I'm like, you guys didn't close any intersection? This is great.
Yeah.
They closed one for like 2 weeks.
They did phenomenal.
I think it was like southbound 75 from westbound 44.
Yeah. We really did do a traffic report.
I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated getting here. I left over an hour like prior to being here. I was like, that's plenty of time. I know the construction is going to be bad. Dude, it was
Friday, bro.
It's terrible.
Downtown gets off early.
All right. We're sitting at about 5 minutes left in today's podcast. So it's a little bit shorter than normal, but we've got some good context here. And You're always welcome to come back. So anytime you want to book again, we'll do it and we'll figure out the schedule. I have my last question, and if you guys have anything else too, final thoughts. But Jen, what makes AllInsure's coverage or services or abilities more unique or different than competitors? So than State Farm, Allstate, Progressive, or maybe another local, let's say direct competitor, not national, because those aren't really direct.
I mean, I'm never gonna badmouth somebody else. I just think that there's a lot more options that we can have available. We've got a lot more buying power. We've got probably about 40 to 50 different carriers that we can throw it out to and say,
so you're an independent.
Yeah.
Which I love. I tell everyone go independent.
Yeah.
Because they'll shop for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. I mean, I already spoke about the IT and the cybersecurity knowledge. I think the other part of it too is like, it's, in Oklahoma, a handshake matters. People want to sit down and talk to you. People want to understand you. Mm-hmm. And I found that I'm going to make a long story short, moved out here from New Jersey, knew nothing of Tulsa. You could have told me that I would have moved out to Oklahoma, when I was, or you could have told me when I was 20 that I would move out to Oklahoma. I would have laughed at you for 3,000 years. No chance in hell.
Now you're never leaving.
Right. But I say all that to say, when I finally moved, my wife was born and raised in Broken Arrow, so lost that battle, moved out here. But looking back on it, just the people and the businesses and the community in Oklahoma is so genuinely passionate about supporting other people that you just can't help but get caught up in the infectious desire and passion. And that's kind of what I've used to springboard my own personal kind of network and growth pattern.
So many people know you.
Trying to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, anytime I sit down with somebody, like yesterday, I've mentioned High Point Urban Adventures. I just want to get to know what it is that makes them tick, what it is they're passionate about, and who it is that they want to get connected to. And so if I'm making that intentional focus to help them, I just think it's going to help put me in a better position going forward. And so, following, in that conversation with him, it was, I had a list of 10 people that I was like, I need to put you in group text with all these people. And just, so I told him, give me the weekend to do it. I'm not doing it right now, but, my focus has always been, I want to help support organizations in any way that I can. Again, and I've said this probably 3 months ago when I came on, focused on the IT side. If it's directly related to something I can control, meaning commercial insurance, setting you up with general liability, premises operations, business auto policy, workers' comp, cyber liability, any, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, outstanding. But if it's, I really need a new retaining wall, great. If I need a new website, outstanding. All of those different things that makes the connection part so invaluable. And transparently, my wife laughs at me. She goes, "You're the worst salesperson." I was like, "Why?" She goes, "Because all you care about is just getting to know people and networking with them." Yeah.
It's easier, it's easier to make a sale when you're not trying to sell anything.
Right.
It's just, you just try to help somebody. It's funny you say that. I literally always tell people, I don't like selling. And they're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, I really don't want to offer you this, but I feel like you should do this.
Yeah.
Just because I can't afford what I'm selling, for one. But two, it's like, man, like you said, you're just trying to help somebody. Yeah. And at that point, when you get to know someone and you get to really, they also feel that you're not trying to sell them something. Right. You're just trying to protect them. You're trying to help them. So I think that's Tulsa in a nutshell. Yeah. You're right on there.
I tell people I'm not a used car salesman. I won't recommend it if I don't think it'll help.
Yeah.
And if you want it, you want it. And if you don't, you don't. Right. Fine. Move on. Like I'll tell you features and benefits all day long, but like you either want it and need it and I recommend it, or you don't, or whatever. Yeah. Right? James, what you got?
Dude, nothing.
He's over here vibing.
I'm just terrible right now.
He's so worked up from the traffic. I'm just playing.
I mean and dude, this week's been like crazy. So
crazy good?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
House is finalized. I signed the paperwork
Love
yesterday.
I was going to ask, but I didn't want to result in
finally
having you pulling the microphone and throwing it across the...
Finally got done with
Sold it.
Yeah, sold it.
So
that's awesome.
My final question, and we'll start with Chance since you kind of already did. Good news for the week.
Sold the house.
Great.
I actually officially sold the house. So
Brayden?
Moved in thanks to you guys.
There's a bigger thing happening this week.
Oh yeah.
Baby
finals
supposed
NBA
to
finals?
Baby's scheduled to be induced on Monday, but could happen over the weekend.
Oh, I'm excited.
So if it does happen over the weekend, she doesn't get her doctor, which kind of sucks.
It sucks, dude. I hated it.
But now I'm at this point, like, I feel like I've done everything I could between like vendors and customers and like my people and stuff. I'm like, all right, y'all got this. And they're like, get out of here.
You're still
fine.
getting phone calls though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know.
It never ends.
My hardest thing is like, is if I can separate for 2 weeks. My boys are so excited because they're like, Dad, you work all the time.
Yeah.
And so like they're really pumped that I'm gonna hang out with them. We're gonna like play in the backyard and whatever else, But they're all like, they're like, we got this. And I'm like, I'm gonna come back and there's gonna be like 500 overdue tasks and like nothing scheduled or whatever. But
all his notifications are gonna go
all my
crazy.
notifications and emails and stuff.
But whenever I'm away, I feel like, and this is again, maybe I am a bad salesman. Whenever I'm away, I feel like I always like make that sale I've been waiting for. Like I get that email or I get that something like, oh, this finally came through. It's like,
I got to do it now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. My hardest thing is going to tell people like kind of say no to it all. So I've got a mode on my phone. It's called mindfulness.
Okay.
And so it hides all the apps that I don't want to see. And I don't get notified by anything or anyone unless I've pre-configured it. So like favorites, friends and family,
Right. Hey, on that, say no to work. It'll be there when you get back.
For sure.
Say yes to your family. It's
100%.
only 2 weeks, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to love it. I had 2, maybe 3 weeks with my youngest baby. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Say no to work. It'll be there when you get back. Yeah, it'll be overwhelming. Guess what? You're overwhelmed right now. No difference.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be all right. Yeah, right. It'll be the same thing. Jim?
No, you got to go for yours, sir.
Oh, man.
Going around the room.
Yeah, good news.
You kind of already did something, but if you want to pitch in again, of course. But don't forget your shout out.
Yeah. Good news, man. We're rolling.
You got a minute and a half.
Yeah, work's been great. I really don't have any good news other than my crews are working out phenomenal.
Cool.
Business is doing great. Family's great. That's pretty much it. Life's good.
Well, I know it's not this week, but you did get 2 new work trucks.
Right, we did get 2 work trucks a couple weeks ago. Thanks to Chance helping us out on that.
Chance coming in clutch.
We did get because of that we got 2 crews rolling up now. So now we're up to 6 working trucks, 6 crews, and
awesome.
Yeah, as I'm sure you guys have experienced, the infrastructure wasn't completely there yet, so now we're trying to get everything figured out. But yeah, I mean, life is good, business is good.
Yeah.
What about you, Jim?
Man, it's been a whirlwind of information, a whirlwind of knowledge, whirlwind of learning on the fly. But it's been exciting, kind of getting that opportunity to really own, set the trail, set up standards, set up policies, set up SOPs, all that kind of stuff. And knowing that I have the full support of of my 2 partners, it's just been exciting as all get out. And, having the support of, I already alluded to, like when you tell people that this is what you're doing and that you're new to the business, but you want to take the time to learn about them and you're not going to be as quick about turning around a policy or turning around a quote because you want to make sure that you're setting it up right. The sympathy and the empathy that people have in Tulsa is just incredible.
I think that's, by the way, if you're trying to start a business, Tulsa's great.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's not a bad place to be.
It's not.
Tulsa's been called the hub for entrepreneurship.
Nice.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I just know it's
Forbes
great.
magazine?
Year or 2 ago? Probably, yeah.
It's a great place. I mean, like you said, it's on a handshake matters situation. If you're nobody trying to come up, we're in Tulsa, they're not the type of people that are snobs and, I'm not going to teach you. Everybody's here willing to help you out. And nobody's going to make fun of you if you're trying to make something happen. It's just great little town.
Yeah. I mean, and so again, I'll condense this as fast as I can. Started up a nonprofit October 2018. By maybe December 2018, if not January 2019, I'm sitting across the table from GT Bynum saying, hey, I'm having this event in April. Would love the city of Tulsa support. That's not supposed to happen that fast.
But that happens here in Tulsa.
It happens in Tulsa.
Oh, yeah. It happens in Tulsa. Cool.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome, man. Okay, so if I need insurance, who do I contact? Ghostbusters? Who do I call? Who do I call? Yeah.
So Jim Herron, phone number is 609-408-9517. Yeah, I'm from New Jersey. I already said that.
Joyce.
Forget about it.
You want big? You want a sandwich for you big?
Yeah, I'll call a sandwich a hoagie. Get over it.
Hoagie?
My email address is jim@allinsurebusiness.com.
Very nice. Okay.
And eventually we'll get the website up. We'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put a bug in your ear about
I know.
that. I noticed because I was like, oh man, he doesn't have a website yet. Like, why not? I was like,
got to set up I'm trying to set everything else up, and we'll get there.
Yeah. And I know you know a guy.
Yeah.
So
Shameless plug.
Yeah, he's not available for the next 2 weeks, so who knows what I could find.
Might have to find another guy.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today. We all appreciate it. We try to give them the best knowledge and guests on the show. And so if you guys have any ideas or inputs, comments, put them down below. Send an email. You can email me. It should be in all the platforms. But if not, you can email bluestudio@marketingsooner.com with any ideas, comments, feedbacks, or ideas for next episodes and upcoming episodes and things like that. But Jim, appreciate you coming in today.
Appreciate the invitation.
And I'm Braden Cruz, Sooner Marketing, creating marketing solutions that deliver sooner results. How do we go in order now?
Go ahead, Chance.
Arm wrestle.
Chance Jones with Threaded Industries, legendary drops for legendary heroes.
Arm wrestle that Chance would have won anyways. Hey, Will Rodriguez with ARC Outdoorsman, where we are creating and maintaining your outdoor living.
Sweet. Oh, was that me? Jim Herron. I thought I already did myself. Jim Herron with AllInsure. We're a commercial insurance brokerage built to help you.
I love it.
Love it.
Good.
Perfect.
See you guys next time.